Hi everyone, this is Harry Hoffman. Today we look at vocational missions and member care and what that has to do with new Global South member care models. Let's get started. I spoke about contextualized mission models before. The classical mission model is a fully church-supported full-time missionary, financed through donations. Many of the Global South churches don't have money to fully support their missionaries. So alternative mission models were developed over the last, 50 to 100 years and continue to be invented under different titles. A few of those titles I mentioned before: bivocational missions. A missionary has two lines of work, a secular job and a ministry. Part-time jobs like teaching Chinese, hairdressing, etc. Income is by donations on one side and through the part-time jobs on the other side. Business as missions, another model. Idea here is to use the business as a legal full-profit enterprise to advance God's kingdom in another country for social impact and transformation. A person's income here is generated through the business revenue, very independent of donations. Another category is tent making, which is really similar to bivocational, depending on what source of literature you read. The missionary either is bivocational with church donations and a part-time job, or fully supports himself through a job, a vocation. And then vocational missions, our topic for today, means that the mission work is integrated with one's primary job, one's primary occupation. Actually, we have many Christian professionals working internationally who have a mission calling. I would call them the hidden missionaries. For example, a Christian overseas Filipino domestic worker works in the Arab world, integrates her mission calling into her daily work, and having access to local households, families, kids, communities, to be a witness for Christ in there. This is amazing. By the way, there are about between 2 and 3 million overseas Filipino workers working abroad. 25 and 30% are domestic workers, actually maids and caregivers. Others work in professional fields, in hospitals, in engineering, teachers, constructions, etc. Just a vague calculation here. If 5% of those are Christians with a mission calling, you have 100,000 missionaries embedded in families and communities worldwide. If there are only 2% Christians with a mission calling, you have 40,000 missionaries embedded in families and communities worldwide. And those are just the Filipino overseas workers. But there are more. You have Indians, Chinese, Mexicans, Nigerians, Bangladeshis, Egyptians, Vietnamese, Romanians, and many other nations with overseas workers in large numbers as well, who are working in construction, in domestic work, in healthcare, caregiving, IT, engineering, hospitality, etc. So we talk about between 100 and 180 million overseas workers, or labor migrants in total. And if just 1% of those are Christians with a mission calling, we have over 1 million missionaries. Just think about that. Potentially 1 million missionaries. Now, what about member care for them? Who provides care for these hidden missionaries? Because most formal member care structures are designed for full-time global North sent missionaries. Vocational missionaries often lack organizational support, pastoral covering, or crisis response access. So needed are really new member care models here. Host country focused care. This is where they live. Local churches, mission agencies, or Christian fellowship in those host countries can intentionally provide a spiritual family and care for those workers. Be a family for those workers. There is a term for this, which is the diaspora church. Diaspora churches are typically multi-ethnic churches in a host nation to support migrant workers. Examples here could be the Filipino Christian Fellowship in Dubai, offering worship, discipleship, and pastoral counseling for overseas Filipino workers, or an African Student Fellowship in Europe, combining mentoring and care with a mission outreach. And those diaspora communities and churches create a belonging. They reduce isolation and they provide a home away from home to support them. As far as I know, these diaspora churches slowly become identified as a strong player in the global mission movement. But in regards to global member care, we hardly have any connections with the diaspora church. This must change. Second, church partnerships with sending countries. So the idea here is that care is shared between the worker's home country's church and the church in the host country. For example, a Filipino church back home stays in monthly contact with members working abroad, praying, checking in, offering encouragement, and this in partnership with a diaspora church in the host country to co-shepherd the worker. As far as I know, these partnerships for overseas workers are very rare, and this has to change. Someone needs to train sending churches to recognize overseas workers as missionaries and to build care partnerships with local fellowships to offer care. Number 3, digital platforms for pastoral care, counseling, and training, tailored towards these vocational missionaries. The idea here is that online tools bridge the geographic distance by providing access to pastoral support and resources. Everyone has a mobile phone these days. We need member care platforms in all sorts of languages to support and care for Christian overseas workers in their Christian life, in their mission, and in their calling. We need more of those. And number 4, crisis response systems for labor exploitation, abuse, and isolation. Here the idea is a safety net that can intervene when workers face serious challenges, like a hotline for overseas workers facing isolation from family or even abuse from employers. Emergency shelters in host countries offering safe refuge for workers in crisis. Opportunity for the church here. We saw a church the other day in Singapore reaching the international migrant workers in Singapore in many, many practical ways, and it was amazing to see that ministry. We need more of those, and they should be connected to the global mission movement and the care element to the global member care movement. Member care for vocational missionaries. I really hope this is helpful and inspires you to think beyond, outside the box, about new member care models in the changing world of missions. And if you have any thoughts and creative ideas, feel free to write to me and contact me. Next time we start a new theme, and I see you then, and bye for now.